Have you ever worried that touching yourself might be doing more harm than good? You're not alone. For decades, men have been told that masturbation is shameful, even dangerous. But what if the real danger isn't the act itself, but the myths surrounding it? In today's video, we're pulling back the curtain on 6 of the most stubborn lies about masturbation, because what you believe about your body shapes how you feel inside it. Now let's find out. What happens when you masturbate? When you masturbate, your body doesn't just feel good, it actually goes through a natural chemical response. Your brain releases a powerful mix of feel-good hormones like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These chemicals help improve your mood, reduce stress, and even support better sleep and sharper focus. That's why so many people report feeling calmer, clearer, and more relaxed after a release. And because masturbation doesn't involve another person, it removes the pressure of performance. There's no need to worry about how you look, how long you last, or whether you're doing something right. Especially for men over 50, this kind of stress-free connection with your body can feel like a relief. It becomes a safe, private way to reconnect with what brings you comfort and confidence. More than just pleasure, masturbation helps you understand your own body, and that knowledge can carry over into better communication, better sex, and better self-respect. So while others may still whisper about it in shame, the truth is, this simple act can support your health in ways most people never talk about. And yet, despite these real benefits, so many myths still linger. Let's take a closer look at the most common one, the old belief that masturbation can make you go blind. Myth number 1. Masturbation makes you go blind or grow hair on your palms. It might sound silly now, but this myth has been told for generations. You may have heard it as a teenager. If you keep doing that, you'll go blind, or hair will grow on your hands. These warnings were never based on science, but they stuck around because they were designed to scare young people. They came from a time when talking about the body, especially anything sexual, was seen as shameful or dirty. Instead of helping people understand their health, society used fear to create silence. The real reason this myth still lingers today isn't because people truly believe it, but because the shame behind it hasn't gone away. Many men over 50 still carry those early messages deep inside, even if they laugh them off now. It shows up as quiet guilt, hesitation, or the feeling that self-pleasure is somehow wrong. But here's the truth. There is no medical evidence, none at all, that masturbation causes blindness or hair to grow on your palms. If that were true, most men would be walking around with canes and gloves. Doctors have studied this for decades, and the results are clear. Masturbation is a normal, healthy part of life for both men and women. It doesn't damage your eyes, your skin, or your body. The only thing it might damage is your confidence, but only if you believe the old lies that were never true in the first place. This myth survives because no one talked about the facts in a calm, respectful way. So let's talk about it now, clearly and with dignity. Masturbation does not harm your eyes. It does not grow hair on your hands. What it does do is release tension, improve mood, and help you feel more connected to your body, especially as you age. And if you've been carrying guilt from what someone once said, maybe it's time to gently set that down. You deserve comfort, not shame. And if you grew up hearing this myth again and again, type myth 1 in the comments. You're not alone, and it's never too late to replace fear with truth. Myth number 2. Masturbation causes erectile dysfunction. One of the most common fears I hear from men, especially those over 50, is this: if I keep masturbating, will it ruin my erections? It's a question often whispered, sometimes typed anonymously online, and usually filled with quiet anxiety. The truth is, many men believe that solo sex somehow weakens their ability to perform with a partner. But that belief doesn't come from facts. It comes from misunderstanding how the body works. In reality, masturbation doesn't cause erectile dysfunction. In fact, the opposite is often true. When done gently and mindfully, masturbation can actually support your erectile health by engaging the pelvic floor muscles. These are the same muscles that contract during orgasm and help maintain firmness. Just like exercising any part of your body, using those muscles regularly can help keep them strong and responsive. But there are two important caveats, and this is where confusion often starts. The first is pornography. In today's world, porn is more available than ever, and constant exposure can change how your brain responds to real-life intimacy. Over time, some men become desensitized, expecting fast, intense stimulation that doesn't match what happens in a real relationship. That can lead to disappointment, frustration, and sometimes even erectile challenges, not because of the act of masturbation itself, but because of how it's being paired with unrealistic visual triggers. The second caveat is emotional. If you feel guilt or shame every time you touch yourself, that emotional stress can interfere with arousal. The body and mind are deeply connected. Feeling wrong or anxious during pleasure sends mixed signals to your nervous system. That tension can make it harder to relax, harder to get, or stay firm, and it slowly builds performance anxiety over time. This is especially true for men who were raised in strict or silent households, where touch was taboo and pleasure came with punishment. So let's be clear, masturbation on its own is not the problem. But pairing it with constant porn or carrying heavy guilt can affect your confidence and sexual rhythm. If you recognize those patterns in yourself, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. And the good news is, with awareness and small shifts, your body can often return to balance. If this myth ever made you worry, type myth 2 in the comments. Your story might help another man feel less alone. Myth number 3. You lose sensitivity if you masturbate too much. Many men begin to worry that if they masturbate too often, they'll lose feeling down there. They say things like, "It just doesn't feel the same anymore," or "It takes longer to finish than it used to." This can be frustrating, and even a little frightening, especially if you're not sure what's causing it. But let's look closer at what's really going on, because the answer might surprise you. Masturbation by itself doesn't burn out your nerves. Your body doesn't simply stop feeling, but what can happen is that the way you masturbate starts to shape how your body responds. If you always use a very tight grip or the exact same motion or device, your brain and nerves get used to that specific kind of stimulation. Over time, anything different, like being with a partner, might feel unfamiliar or less intense. It's not that you're broken, it's that your body has learned a habit. This is something called sensation conditioning. Think of it like always listening to music with headphones turned all the way up. After a while, normal volume seems dull. The same goes for your body. Too much pressure, speed, or focus in one direction can leave other types of touch feeling less effective. That's why some men develop what's informally called death grip syndrome, where only their hand can get them to orgasm, and nothing else seems to work. But here's the good news. This kind of sensitivity shift is often reversible. Your body is still capable of pleasure. It may just need to relearn it. Try varying your technique, loosening your grip, or using less pressure overall. If you use devices, give your body breaks, and focus on sensations that feel more natural. Using a simple, fragrance-free lubricant can also reduce friction and help awaken sensation in a gentler way. What your body needs after 50 is not more force, it's more kindness. Slower touch, deeper breathing, and less goal-oriented habits can help restore pleasure. Instead of chasing intensity, try tuning into comfort. With time and patience, sensitivity often returns. You haven't lost anything. Your body is just waiting for a different kind of attention. If this tip about sensitivity helped clarify something for you, type myth 3 in the comments. Your response helps support our whole community of men learning together. Myth number 4, you can masturbate too much. This is one of the most common questions men ask, often in private and with a lot of worry behind it. Am I doing it too much? Is daily masturbation hurting me? The truth is, there isn't one magic number that applies to everyone. For most people, even masturbating daily isn't a problem, as long as it's not interfering with the rest of your life. But when it starts to replace connection, responsibilities, or your sense of balance, that's when it's worth taking a closer look. Healthy masturbation is about choice and awareness. If you feel in control and it brings relief, comfort, or clarity, then it's likely supporting your well-being. But if you find yourself doing it automatically as a way to avoid feelings or at the cost of other parts of your life, that could be a sign something deeper is going on. For example, skipping meals, losing sleep, ignoring your partner, or feeling upset afterward are all signals to pause and reflect. Not because masturbation is bad, but because it might be filling a space that needs something else. Interestingly, for some men, especially those with chronic pelvic or testicular pain, doctors may actually recommend masturbating a few times a week. It can help relieve tension in the pelvic floor, reduce stress hormones, and support circulation. So it's not about cutting it out, it's about finding a rhythm that works for you. A rhythm where you feel relaxed afterward, not drained, where you feel clearer, not guilty, and where your pleasure adds to your life, not replaces it. If you're unsure whether your habits are in balance, try asking yourself a few gentle questions. Am I skipping things that matter to me? Do I feel better or worse afterward? Would I still choose this if I weren't feeling lonely or stressed? These aren't about judgment. They're about kindness. The goal isn't to stop. The goal is to feel more at ease in your own skin. If you've ever questioned how much is too much, type Myth 4 in the comments. Let's talk about it openly, without shame, just truth. Myth number 5, masturbation means you're in a bad relationship. This is a myth that quietly creates distance in many relationships, especially as we get older. Some people believe that if you're still masturbating, it must mean something's wrong with your marriage or with your sex life. But the truth is, solo pleasure doesn't have to compete with intimacy. In fact, it can exist right alongside it, and even support it. Many men over 50 experience natural changes in desire, energy, or timing. Sometimes a partner isn't available, or the moment isn't right, or there's a need for quiet personal connection. Masturbation can offer a safe, pressure-free space to explore your needs, without expectation, without stress. That doesn't mean you love your partner less. It simply means your body still has needs, and that's normal. In some relationships, couples even explore masturbation together, or talk openly about it as part of their shared intimacy. That kind of honesty can actually bring people closer, not farther apart. But even if it's a private habit, that doesn't make it a threat. What matters most is communication and trust, not how or when you seek pleasure. If you're in a relationship and you masturbate from time to time, it's not a betrayal. It's a form of self-care. The danger isn't the act. It's the silence, the secrecy, or the guilt that can grow when we believe this myth. When you understand that solo pleasure doesn't mean something is broken, it becomes easier to talk, to connect, and to support each other's needs without shame. If you've ever wondered whether solo pleasure could hurt your relationship, type Myth 5 in the comments. Let's start breaking that silence together. Myth number 6, masturbation lowers testosterone. This myth is especially common among men who care deeply about staying strong, vital, and masculine, especially after 50. You may have heard that masturbating too often drains your testosterone, weakens your drive, or makes you feel less like yourself. But here's what the research actually shows. Masturbation does not lower your long-term testosterone levels. In fact, the picture is far more balanced and far less scary. When you masturbate and reach orgasm, your testosterone level temporarily rises. It's part of the natural surge your body experiences during sexual excitement. After the release, your levels return to baseline, but they do not drop below normal. Your body is smart. It knows how to restore balance, and a single moment of pleasure doesn't undo years of health. There's no evidence that masturbation leads to lasting hormonal loss or drains your strength. So where did this myth come from? In ancient times, Greek and Roman athletes were told to avoid sex or masturbation before battle or sports, believing that holding back would make them more aggressive. Even today, some athletes still follow that belief, but there's very little science to back it up. The idea is more cultural than medical. And while it may feel powerful to hold it in, the truth is, regular release, when chosen freely and enjoyed mindfully, can support hormonal balance, not harm it. If you've been afraid that masturbation is making you weaker, here's the reassurance: it's not. Your strength, your masculinity, your vitality, they're not defined by abstinence. They're shaped by your overall health, your mindset, your habits, and how well you care for your body. And that includes giving yourself safe, respectful pleasure when it feels right. If this myth ever made you doubt your strength, type myth 6 in the comments. Let's replace fear with facts and support each other in the truth. How to know if you're masturbating in a healthy way. After clearing up all these myths, you might be wondering, how do I actually know if my habits are healthy? The answer isn't about how often you do it, but about how you feel before, during, and after. Healthy masturbation should leave you feeling relaxed, not guilty. It should fit into your life, not take it over. And it should feel like a choice, not a compulsion. A helpful way to check in with yourself is by asking a few honest questions. Do I feel better or worse afterward? Am I using this to escape something I don't want to feel? Is it taking the place of other parts of my life, like sleep, connection, or real rest? If the answer is no, and it feels balanced, then you're likely in a good place. Also, pay attention to your body. If you're sore, irritated, or feeling pressure to rush, it might be time to slow down or change your technique. Use lubrication if needed, vary your approach, and remember, after 50, your body responds best to gentleness and presence. Pleasure isn't a race. It's a signal from your body that you're alive and still connected. The more you treat your body with care, the more it will respond in kind. That's what healthy self-pleasure looks like. Not just physical release, but emotional respect. And if you're still learning what that means for you, that's okay. You're not behind, you're just reconnecting. And that's something to feel proud of. The emotional side of masturbation. After 50. For many men, the hardest part about masturbation isn't the physical act. It's the emotional weight that comes with it. Maybe you were raised to believe it was dirty or shameful. Maybe no one ever talked about it at all, and now you're left wondering what's normal. As we age, those old messages don't just disappear. They stay with us, sometimes in the background, quietly shaping how we feel about our own bodies. You might notice guilt creeping in after you masturbate, even if nothing was wrong. Or maybe you avoid it altogether, not because you don't want to, but because it feels like something you shouldn't do anymore. That emotional tension can build up over time. It doesn't just affect your mood. It can also affect your desire, your arousal, and even how connected you feel to your partner. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs that you're carrying something heavy that was never yours to hold in the first place. Releasing that shame doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with compassion. Masturbation is not something to be judged, it's something to be understood. If you've ever felt disconnected or unsure, know this. Your body still deserves kindness, your pleasure still matters, and you're not alone in figuring this out. Talking to a therapist or a trusted doctor can be a helpful step. especially if these feelings run deep. You're not broken, you're human. And there's nothing shameful about wanting to feel close to yourself again. If no one has ever told you this before, let me be the first. You are not broken. You are not too old. You are not doing something wrong just because your body or your desires have changed over time. What you're going through is natural, human, and far more common than most people admit out loud. And the fact that you're here, listening, learning, trying to understand, that's not weakness. That's strength. Your body still responds, maybe in slower ways, maybe in gentler rhythms, but that doesn't make it any less worthy of care. You don't need to chase the past or pretend to be 20 again. You simply need to tune into what your body needs now and give it the kind of attention it has quietly been asking for. The way you touch yourself, speak to yourself, care for yourself, these are not small things. They shape how you move through the world. If this video helped shift something for you, even just a little, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you think another man might need to hear this message too, consider sharing it. Subscribe to the channel for more honest, respectful conversations like this, because you deserve to feel informed, supported, and whole. Thank you for watching. Take good care of yourself. And remember, the best connection you'll ever have starts with how you treat your own body.